Hello everyone, Hubert from Pełna Kulturka here, and it's a really pleasure to have Michel away from the band Voivod here with me. Hello Michel, how are you?
I'm great, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. Are you excited about the album release soon?
Yeah, I'm really excited that it's also, it's not only exciting because the track listing is more of an obscure side of the Voivod catalog, but also it was a great opportunity to refresh the set list, the live set list as well. So I'm excited to go back on the road.
All right, this new album, Morgue of Tales, features the brand new song, the title song, but it's mainly based on re-recorded tracks from the past and songs from the past re-recorded in 2023. And please tell me, what was the key while picking all these tracks, particular songs to re-record? And what's the idea behind that? I don't know. Don't you like the older versions, or were they bad recorded in a way that you don't like anymore? Please tell me more about that.
Well, the main idea was because Snake auditioned for the band in January '83. We wanted to re-record an overview of our career in January 2023. So it would be like a 40 years loop, and so that was the main idea. We wanted the LP to fit on one vinyl. So instead of covering all the albums, we had to pretty much cover all the lineups, basically. And so from the first song we wrote in '83, Condemned to the Gallows, to 2023, we wrote a new song, Morgue of Tales, for this release. And we wrote the song while on tour with Opeth last year, November and December. And and for the tracks on this album, we wanted to avoid the obvious songs that we always play live, like Tribal Convictions or The Unknown Knows or Astronomie Dominée. So we picked more obscure tracks, which is great because people have been asking us to play, let's say, Nuage Fractal from Angerat for many years. So now is a good time.
All right. The 2023 version of Rebel Robot features Jason Newsted, and he was obviously the part of the band for a few years at the beginning of the century. Could you please tell me what was his impact, the impact that Jason, brought for a band in this case, in the case of sound and overall?
Well, he really revived the band in a way, because in the early 2000s we didn't know if we wanted to keep going, or it was early in I believe 2001 that we phoned Snake to see if maybe we could do something in the future, and we phoned Jason for the same reason. And at first we wanted Jason to be a guest bassist, but he got excited and joined the band, which was great because he brought a lot of spotlight on the band. We got a lot of press, and it was fun to record and demo the material at his studio in California. And he's just a great friend. He's been for many decades. And so at the same time that he joined Voivod, he joined the Ozzy's band. And so we were opening for Ozzy a lot in 2003, and he was playing 2 shows a day. quite a warrior.
Yeah,
And he's still a great friend. And he just in May we played in Fort Lauderdale, and he jumped on stage with us to play Rebel Robot and the song Voivod, which is great.
All right. You, Michel, are also an artist who creates the album covers for Voivod. And to be honest, the album cover is a really important thing for me. You know, there's music, and the artwork is really important for me too. And in Voivod, in my opinion, has one of the best album artworks in the music industry. And please tell me, what is the first thing when it comes to create the album? Is it the album artwork, or maybe the music, and then you create the whole artwork?
I tend to sketch a lot when we are recording and mixing and writing. And so to me, the art has to represent the music and the lyrics as much as possible, and so I'm in a good position to do so. So for, let's say, the Synchro Anarchy album, I did all the art at Radicar Studio, where we record these days, and also some of it while listening to the mixes, or mixing the album, so I try to connect everything together. And for me, like, when, let's say, an example would be when I first saw the Iron Maiden album, the first Iron Maiden album in 1980 at the store. The art of the cover really stuck out amongst the other albums on the rack. So I immediately went for it and grabbed the album before my friends could. And they were already my favorite band, just watching the cover, you know. And when I took it home and I put the needle on, the music was exactly what I was hoping for. So when time came to do the War and Pain cover art in our first album in 1984, it's what I had in mind, was to attract the eye of the kid coming into the store, and it had to represent the music perfectly. So I always have this approach, and but it's really a hit or miss situation, where some album covers, I think I succeeded more than others, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So what is the band, except Voivod and maybe Iron Maiden that you told me about, that has the best album covers in your opinion?
Back in the days, I was a real fan of Roger Dean, who did the Yes album covers, and I learned a lot from him. I got a lot of influence from the anarchist punk bands from UK. Okay. The black and white aesthetic, anti-nuclear approach, you know, and yeah, I mean, I'm very old school, so I'm talking about the early influences, you know. These days, you know, with the digital technology moving ahead, there's been some just mind-blowing, incredible artwork that I've seen, especially with AI these days. It's really hard to compete with that, but I mainly draw on the road after every show, ink drawing, you know. I still do that a lot, but I've been using a lot of digital tools for the past decades.
All right. You know, what I personally like in music is a thing that the band, by their music and by their artworks, could create the new separate world that a listener can escape to if, for example, his or her life sucks at the moment. And you and Voivod are doing that for many, many years. Is this another world that you created, also a way to escape for you from your everyday life?
I would say so, because when I first created the concept of Voivod, it was to do comic books. When I discovered the magazine, heavy metal magazine, as a teenager, and Moebius, Drouillet, Bilal became my favorite artists. I was trying to copy them, and it was a way to escape reality for sure. But once the art is done, you come back to reality, and it's something you can't be in denial all the time, you know. And I think it's great with Voivod is we are talking about the reality of this planet, but as some sort of sci-fi folk tales, and I have the same approach with my art. So it's a good way of sort of evade in a fantasy world, but still anchored in reality, so you don't lose touch too much, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, sure. It makes sense, and it's a great way to do that. Okay, so let's change subject a little bit for music again. And many bands are focusing, especially now in the streaming times when we stream the music a lot, on singles. Voivod is the band that probably since the very beginnings focused more on the whole albums. And please tell me, what are the positive and what are the negative aspects about doing it this way, you know, focusing on the whole albums and not so much on the singles?
Oh, I mean, we try to, especially these days, we still try to have 2 or 3 singles even before the album comes out. Usually 2 before and 1 the day the album comes out. But it's true that we are, our roots are also, aside from heavy metal and thrash metal, we come from prog rock. And I really liked when I was a kid to sort of take a trip down my imagination, listening to, let's say, Tarkus from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, or albums from Van der Graaf, Generator, or Genesis, King Crimson, where it's hard to not to go from the first note to the last note, you know. And so I think we still have this approach with Voivod, where we try to make every album like a long voyage for the listener. And so we tend to focus on the whole album. It's also why, like back in the days, I like the fact that they had quite often one drawing for every song on the progressive rock albums. And so that's what I did on Nothing Face and Phobos and Synchro Anarchy and The Wake. And I try to have this approach still today.
Sure. So when you listen to music these days, you listen it like more to the whole albums, or maybe you like to pick the singles sometimes? How is it in your case?
Oh, I'm very old school. I go to the main library here in Montreal and I borrow music and I on CD, and I play it from start to the end at home. I still love that approach, you know.
Okay, so is it CDs, or vinyls too, maybe?
Oh, I listen more to CDs these days. Unfortunately, I don't have my vinyl set up right now, and my vinyls are in a locker room somewhere. And so I'm mainly focusing on CDs nowadays.
All right. You know, vinyls are also great because of the album covers that are, you know, bigger and looks better.
Yes. It's been a blessing for me because we sell a lot of vinyls with Voivod, a lot of physical products, but vinyls are really, really popular. And so I had to get back into the 12 by 12 inches approach of doing art, which is amazing, instead of, I don't know, 6 by 6 or a smaller format for CDs. I can't recall exactly the format, you know.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a really important thing to have, you know, such loyal fans these days that are buying your, you know, CDs, vinyls and stuff like that, and not only stream. Okay, please tell me how the band like Voivod is able to complete a good concert set list, because you guys have so many albums in your catalog, and it's probably hard, or maybe not, but how is it when you want to, you know, play songs that you want to play and play the songs that people want to hear? Is it something hard for you?
Yes, it's always a bit difficult because we have so many albums that we can't really think about playing a song from every album at all. And so this year, the touring has been focused on the 40th anniversary album that's coming out in 2 days or 3 days. So the good thing is we decided to cover the Eric Forrest and Jason Newsted periods. So as long as the 80s and early 90s. And so it's a great range and a real overview of our career. Yeah. And we had Eric jump on stage at Hellfest to sing Rise from the album Phobos. So, and since the 40th anniversary album is focused on more obscure tracks, we get to play obscure tracks live too, might as well. And people really enjoy us playing weird stuff that we very rarely or never play at all, and no complaints at all from the crowd so far about not playing The Unknown Knows or Tribal Convictions or Astronomie Dominée. These songs have been featured on all the live albums we've been releasing lately. So yes, it was exciting when we put the Morgoth Tales project together when we toured with Opeth last year, November and December, and it was exciting for us to think about a set list for this year. And so when I mentioned Nuage Fractal, Chewy was excited. Then we got the idea of adding material from the Eric and Jason years. And then we got the idea of reaching out to them so they would be part of the album. And so that allowed them to come on stage with us. So it's a great moment for us, you know, this 40-year anniversary thing.
Yeah, is it the best time right now that you're having? Because, you know, as every band with so many years on the stage, you guys had ups and downs. And I'm curious if is it the best time now, and what would be your advice to the younger bands to not give up in these, you know, bad moments?
Yes, it's true. Right now we are enjoying a great momentum where we are more popular than ever, and even winning Junos in Canada for very intricate albums. So it gives us confidence that we are on the right path with this fusion metal thing that we're doing, and we're going to explore even more musically, you know. And live, we have a great chemistry. Many generations are showing up at the show. So even though there were highlights like let's say, touring with Fit No More in Soundgarden or Rush for the Nothing Face album, or doing the Ozfest with Jason in 2003, or I think right now is the best time ever for Voivod. So we still have a lot on our plate in terms of touring this year. And I think that this coming winter we will write a new album.
All right, great. That's great to hear that you're having a really good time now. And thank you for this great conversation, Michel. And I wish you all the best with the band, with the new release, with the concerts. All the best for you. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thanks for having me, and see you on the road somewhere.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye.